I've got to clean this place up. I've got spilt copper from my crucible shattered inside my furnace, ugly copper bars, copper that just looks dingy and doesn't really add any value to my treasure. I'm just going to go ahead and put all this into a crucible, melt it all down, and make the biggest copper ingot I've ever made. Unlike aluminum, copper has to attain a heat of nearly 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit. But fortunately, I got a new furnace that melts this down pretty quickly. So right now I'm just adding all those scrap remnants of copper wires that are just dingy, they don't have that shiny copper look, as well as that overspill from a previous video and all my ugly bars. I wanted to pour one big solid bar. Because that overspill from my cracked crucible was so large, I won't even be able to put the lid on this and cover it up to generate heat as fast as it normally would. But I put it on there to try to trap as much of the heat as I could. And that will allow the metal to become malleable, and hopefully when it becomes malleable, I'll be able to bend it and push it down into the crucible. With the lid off, I'm examining the copper to see if any of the extremities of the copper have started to melt. And then I test and see how malleable it is. Some of the smaller wires are malleable, but that really large chunk isn't too malleable, so I'll have to let this heat up for a good bit longer before I'll actually be able to bend it into the crucible and turn this into a molten metal. And giving it some time did the trick. Copper just went right down into the crucible and turned into a liquid metal. Now I gotta get all of the impurities out of that. Most of the impurities from this pour came from when I had that accident, or that crucible failure. Parts of the previous furnace I had were stuck on that molten copper. I had to chisel, well I won't say chisel, but really pry to get it out of my old furnace. I use a stainless steel spoon because it won't melt under these high temperatures. But just a few seconds in the molten red hot copper will prove to do its toll on a stainless steel spoon as well. It gets red hot really quickly. This is just the first dip I've taken. There was a surprising amount of impurities in this copper. I mean, there's probably some copper in that slag I pulled off, but I don't want any risk to my purity of my copper bar. I'd rather have residual copper on slag than to have impurities in my pour. I think I've done 3 scoops of impurities out of this copper, and my glove is feeling like I have my hand trapped on top of a burning ember. Even with these specially designed gloves, there's really no gloves that are going to keep that heat from burning your hands. The gloves are there to protect your hands from the immediate burns that would be acquired by putting your hand over a flame or molten metal like that. And even these really expensive gloves will start to deform if you leave them over. You can see them starting to smoke there. That's when I take them off my hand. I didn't capture this part of the video, but make sure you heat your molds. If you pour a hot molten any metal into a cold mold, you'll see an explosion. I'm not going to put commentary over the rest of this video, but I do ask that you hit the like button as I let this roll. I worked well into the night on cleaning up these scrap pieces of copper, and I appreciate all y'all's support. It really helps a young YouTube channel grow, and I hope to see y'all here next time. And if you have any recommendations for future videos, I'd love to hear them and would love to do them for you. So please hit me up while I'm still a small channel. It goes a long way. And enjoy the hard work in progress. We're going to do a quick melt, make a nice solid copper bar. Here you heat your molds. If you pour a hot molten any metal into a cold mold, you'll see an explosion. Some nice weight there. There we go. That's where we're at now.